Question: do you think it's appropriate, I guess more morally, or do you think it's appropriate for agents to be actively prospecting right now?
Yeah, so different people have different definitions of prospecting, right? And, if we're talking about making phone calls to people to see, if they might have a need to buy or sell a home in the future, let's say in the next month or 2 months or 3 months, I certainly think that phone calls are okay. Now, going door to door, door knocking to try to figure out if people have if they want to buy or sell a home, I think that that's a terrible idea.
They're
But
ready to get blasted with Lysol.
yeah, like I would spray them with Lysol if they came to my door, right? And I'd tell them to get off of my property. So, I think it depends on what specific tactics brokers are using when it comes to prospecting. I think it may actually even be doing some folks a favor to have a conversation with them of saying, hey, if you do have a home to sell, or if you are looking to buy a home in the next 30 days, maybe in the next 60 days, let's talk about what that looks like for you. And let's talk about what we need to do now to position you so that when the time comes that it's we're doing the best that we can for you. So again, I think it depends on what specific tactic you're using when it comes to prospecting. I think some types of prospecting should absolutely be off the table. And I think there's other types of prospecting that could be very useful at this time.
Oh, absolutely. And that's your explanation there really is sort of helping sculpt like what I'm personally going to do going forward. Because at the beginning of this, I was just kind of SOL at that point. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was going on. But as I'm learning more, I think, then my second phase was, okay, if someone calls me and they really need to move, then I'd be happy to help. But now it's been going on so long now, it's like, okay, I need to be doing something to try and get some of these deals that are happening right now.
Yeah.
And surprising to me, I figured it was going to be nothing going on, when this whole thing started. But, I'm starting to see other realtors come in with deals. Even my cousin in Wisconsin just, bought a house during all this. And so I'm starting to see, what it's really like, and adjusting my business to maybe start getting some of that business as well.
Yeah, and I think a lot of folks saw an initial drop off in their business because they were advising their clients to, hey, let's hang tight until we can kind of figure things out, see where everything stands. But again, I think there's enough people who have a legitimate need to buy or sell, and many of those people just can't continue to hold off and hold off and hold off. And so I think you've seen them start to come back to the market or go on the market right now when they may have, otherwise, outside of this coronavirus thing, they may have gone on the market a couple weeks ago and they've been holding off, and now they're saying, hey, I can't hold off anymore. I need to get going. So, again, I think it is hopefully a short-term thing. I do think that there's going to be some downside as far as pressure on pricing, which, it's not all bad. We were in a relatively unsustainable market when it comes
to absolutely.
Buyers weren't able to afford anything, particularly first-time buyers. And so, I don't think it's all bad to have a slight correction with respect to home prices. And that being said, I think Northern Colorado in general, for the most part, is relatively well positioned compared to maybe the rest of the nation. I think Weld County, it still remains to be seen. Obviously, they've got a lot of oil workers, and with the oil and gas wars right now with Saudi Arabia and Russia and whatever, I think that still remains to be seen. But, Northern Colorado overall has a lot of high tech workers. We have universities, and a lot of the folks here have the ability to work from home, and they are working from home. So I think we're well positioned compared to a lot of the rest of the nation. Doesn't mean that we're not going to see, some sort of correction. I think that that's going to happen. I just don't think it's going to be maybe as serious as, some of the other parts of the state or other parts of the nation.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing I worry about is so many people were thrown out of work or going on unemployment benefits, especially when going back to prospecting. It just worries me about accidentally coming up with someone like that. Maybe, when tensions are high with them in their life, like, what if I get an ad in front of them or get them on the phone or something, and it sort of backfires on me.
Yeah, I think there's a fine line between being sensitive to someone's needs and really coming from a place of contribution. Uh, when it comes to helping those folks out, if there's people who were laid off and who lost their job, do they want to talk to a salesman at this point in time?
Exactly.
They probably don't. That being said, if the outcome or the outlook for them is that they're probably not going to have a job for 6, 7, 8, 9 months, what happens if they get foreclosed on during that time? I mean, right now, a lot of people are sitting on a lot of equity. And if we can get them out from those homes and get them that equity, they might have a lot of money to live off of, where they could rent a place until they're able to buy again without racking their credit, so that once they have a job again, that they're ready to buy and they're in a good position. They don't have to rebuild their credit. And so I think it just depends on how you approach it. If you're approaching it from the perspective of, hey, I'm going to take advantage of people who are losing their jobs right now, people are going to pick up on that. They're not stupid. And at the same time, if you're coming at it from the perspective of, hey, I heard you just got laid off. Is there anything that I can do to help? Do you, how can I counsel you with respect to best positioning yourself in the future? What real estate needs do you have? What does that look like? What's the best timing for you? How should we go about this? I think there's people who are going to be willing to have that conversation. And at the end of the day, if they have to sell their property, it might as well be you if it's someone that or if it's someone that you come into contact with, versus one of these vultures that are out there just trying to take advantage of people in this situation.
Oh, definitely. And, that's something I would approach very carefully. I have a feeling like a wave of that sort of thing is going to come.
Yeah.
Once they start allowing foreclosures and evictions again, I think we are going to see a big wave of people needing to get out from under their mortgage. And I would definitely encourage brokers to approach it sensitively and, still get that business.